Spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a red Protoss player from the land of Germany, known to be one of the best foreign Protoss players, and at times perhaps even the best Protoss player in the world. Representing Team Big, he is ShoWTimE.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have his opponents, also hailing from the land of Germany. It is the blue Protoss player representing Team Zenthex. It is GunGFuBanDa.
And of course, we were alluding to it a little bit earlier as we were beginning and kind of introing the players, but these are two Protoss players who are kind of known for being very defensive, and I wouldn't really say passive. They have the potential to, you know, play a little bit more actively on the map, but yeah, there is a reason why ShoWTimE is called Die Mauer over there in Germany, and I personally will never forget GunGFuBanDa's game against Neeb, which went up to the 1.5 hour mark or something like that. It was insane.
I still get nightmares about it, mate. I will not forget. It's on our YouTube channel. GunGFuBanDa versus Neeb. It was over an hour-long game on Eternal Empire. Really putting the name of that map to the test. It was during the TSL qualifiers, I believe. Rough times.
Dark days over in the foreign Protoss players.
Dark days, mate. Dark days. But hopefully we don't see we don't see a repeat of that. Fingers crossed, mate. But I mean, as you were saying, you know, ShoWTimE, he is kind of cut from the same cloth of stats, you know, maybe two brothers from different regions, right, both known for their solid macro play.
And that's definitely what he normally likes to bring to the table, but today we instead see a proxy Stargate.
That cut was totally on purpose. Yes, we do have a proxy Stargate here from ShoWTimE. Honestly, this is pretty interesting. Like, proxy Stargates in general kind of fell off a little bit because you can't really go proxy Void Ray anymore after the patch. Of course, that's not what this is going to be. It is just to send out that Oracle that much faster to get into the mineral line.
Yeah, oracles are even more prominent nowadays. At least that's how it feels when it comes to PvP. There's a lot of potential to be had economically by just evaporating your opponent's mineral lines early on, and oracles are one of the few, you know, reliable methods of doing that.
Oh yeah,
for a Protoss player.
Definitely, and I mean, GunGFuBanDa is fully aware that he is scouring every single edge of the map right now. He is going all the way towards the bottom right, and he also went towards the top left here with 2 probes. Unfortunately, it's not in the edge of the map. It's dead set in the middle. So a great proxy look.
Hiding in plain sight.
Exactly, hiding in plain sight. It's a great place for this proxy. It has gone unscouted. ShoWTimE is diving in across the map, and he does avoid the stalkers.
All of them already going across the map right now. They are very far away from this one Oracle. Of course, it's very early on, so no shield battery to be seen. Forces a recall on all of these stalkers. But even despite that, he picks off 4 probes.
Yeah, 4 probes go down. The Oracle doesn't take any hull damage whatsoever. It will be able to escape. And what's scary is that we are going to have a second Oracle meeting this as well. So the one-shot potential is there. GunGFuBanDa, thankfully, did open up with his own Stargate. So he's going to have the availability to go into Phoenixes.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, he can use that to just sort of kite the oracles away. He is sending out his own oracle across the map. We'll see if that's able to get anything done. Decent target firing from ShoWTimE, but even better target firing from GunGFuBanDa, as ShoWTimE is left with only 1 oracle.
Yeah, I don't know if that was really worth it there for 2 probes to lose an oracle like that. So great defense there by GunGFuBanDa. Definitely could have been a lot worse. Meanwhile, he does have his first oracle zooming out across the map. ShoWTimE does have units in position here at the natural,
and immediately he turns around to take it out. Yeah, not much more damage is going to be done with this one oracle. And it even goes down. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, really unfortunate pathing there by GunGFuBanDa. Does end up losing his oracle. And despite having a Phoenix, he was unable to catch the oracle of ShoWTimE. So he still does have that alive here back at home.
Yeah, always going to be useful as the game goes on. Stasis wards, I mean, they have both really good harassing potential and really good defensive potential. You always want to have, you know, at least 1 oracle going into the mid game, you know, if you open up with it.
Exactly, like oracles are such flexible units here. As we can see, stasis trap does go down here outside the natural base. The other scary thing is that ShoWTimE, because he kind of was able to dictate the pace of the game, his Twilight Council was much faster. We can see the Twilight Council of GunGFuBanDa only just now finishing up, so there's going to be a massive window here where ShoWTimE is going to have blink and GunGFuBanDa will not.
Yeah, but it does seem like he's making up for it a little bit. He kind of knows that he's a little behind in the tech, so he throws down that Robo Facility. A couple of Immortals thrown into the mix can really mess up the, can really mess up the ratio and the dynamic of a pure Blink Stalker battle.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like GunGFuBanDa should be aware of kind of his where he lacks a little bit in terms of tech, so he can make up for that in being defensive, getting a couple of Immortals out, as you were saying, defending long enough and then counterattacking once he does have Blink, once he does have his upgrades and a decent amount of Immortals. But as he does that, that does mean that he gives full map control to ShoWTimE.
Yeah, we'll see what ShoWTimE does with it. Already, he's not letting it go to waste, grabbing that third Nexus much quicker than GunGFuBanDa. GunGFuBanDa does see this. Not quite able to see the Stalker Force yet, though.
Yeah, the Stalkers are in the dark for the time being, but GunGFuBanDa does maneuver here with his Observer. He does see all this, and ooh, that third base is going to be delayed.
For even longer, GunGFuBanDa gonna have to play the defensive game. These sentries immediately sniped by all these Stalkers, and I don't think that shield battery is in a safe enough position to really help out. ShoWTimE doesn't want to risk overextending, though, especially when he sees the Immortal out.
Yeah, exactly. Again, this was a force designed just to deny the third base. Anything more than that is a bonus here, bearing in mind that we still don't have Blink for GunGFuBanDa. With the Immortals and shield batteries, again, he's not going to be broken at his natural base, but pushing out and expanding and taking a third is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, it should be anyway, but yeah, GunGFuBanDa's gonna try anyway, and ShoWTimE is gonna retreat for now, maybe circle around the map, see if there's anything else to pick off, as he himself is starting to tech up, realizes, wait a minute, my Robo Facility is way late, and how does ShoWTimE scout this Dark Shrine, man? How does it happen?
How does he do it? He just checks the top left-hand corner of the map, confirms the location of the Dark Shrine. He should be making a beeline for it soon. We already have a Robo on the way for detection as well. Unfortunately, GunGFuBanDa won't make this happen, and he may not realize that he just got scouted.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking at the minimap or the players' POVs over there, but, if he wasn't really looking at that one probe, it's very easy to miss.
Yeah,
try anyway.
Exactly, especially because there was no, attack alert or anything like that. Like, the probe just dipped in and dipped out. Wasn't necessarily envisioned for a long time. DTs are waddling on in, but again, we have detection already. Observer is going to be coming out. We even have an Oracle for Revelation, just in case.
What we said about saving one Oracle.
Yeah.
When we get into the mid game. This is another use for it.
Pretty much, mate, pretty much. Meanwhile, we have another scout here from ShoWTimE. He does confirm the tech transition. Robotics Bay already thrown down for GunGFuBanDa. This is a great way to come back, despite being down in upgrades or despite being behind when it comes to certain things, especially his economy. To make up for that, he will be going all the way into Disruptors.
Yeah, the great equalizer here. It's even really good as a zoning unit, force your opponent to use one of their blinks, ideally a little prematurely, if possible, and then just come in with your Immortals and take everything else out.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of emphasize how amazing Disruptors can be, earlier today, Pig and Maynard, they were casting Ranger versus Probe, and Ranger was down like 40 supply in a PvP.
Yep.
And all he needed were like 2 good Purification Novas, and he somehow made up for the deficit. So again, it can go to show how supplies may be a little bit deceptive once Disruptors come into play.
Yeah, and GunGFuBanDa had to be watching that.
Oh yeah.
It was like 7 a.m. for him or something. He woke up just to see it.
Just for the PvP, mate. Let's go. DTs try to waddle in, but again, there are cannons, there's detection. They don't really find a way in at all. Meanwhile, the thing that's a little bit scary is that ShoWTimE did scout the Disruptor transition. He was fully aware of it, and his response was to make Phoenixes to try and disable said Disruptors and make sure the Novas do not go up.
GTs actually get taken out before they can finish their recall. And yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Like, Disruptors, they are the great equalizer, but Phoenixes make things a little bit more unequal.
Exactly. Like, obviously, GunGFuBanDa can out micro and try and out position and zone out the Phoenixes or focus fire them. So again, it is all going to come down to the control of both of our players. We'll see here as ShoWTimE moves out across the map with a massive supply advantage.
Yeah, wants to be careful about this choke point. He's looking to see if there's a way for GunGFuBanDa to be baited into that, but he decides, you know what, my army is way too big. I'm just going to dip in, lift up all your disruptors, and take out the rest of your ground army. There's one Purification Nova that goes off, takes out a couple of Stalkers, but that is not going to be enough.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, the Stalkers of GunGFuBanDa were completely out of position. They were not where they needed to be to protect those disruptors. GG gets called, and ShoWTimE takes game 1.
What a decisive attack here. You know, proving that ShoWTimE, he's called a Mauer, but sometimes the wall comes to you. He's a very versatile player.
Yeah,
put it that way.
He is. You know, starting things off with a proxy Stargate, you love to see it. And just really decisive. And it's one of those things where a lot of people, a lot of players specifically, can you know, talk about how, oh my god, like PvP can be kind of coin flippy at times because there's so many like tech options and so many things that your opponent can do. But ShoWTimE, his scouting was superb that game. Like, he saw every little thing that GunGFuBanDa was doing and was able to respond beautifully.
Yeah, I guess it does go to show that they probably do play against each other a lot, both on ladder and in online tournaments as well. So yeah, that's going to be my explanation anyway of how ShoWTimE knew that at a certain point I should just check the edges of the map because I do not trust this guy whatsoever.
Yeah. He didn't want to get done dirty like that, mate. Not in a PvP, so he just shuts down the proxy, shuts down the disruptors. You know, had a great way of just, again, delaying that third base, dealing damage early on as well, working or playing even against his image, going for a proxy of all things in game 1. Yeah, that was just a beautiful PvP.
Yeah. It was PvP that only lasted 10 minutes, so I'm personally grateful. I know how passive these two guys can be. So I got we saw some action while we could.
Man, I've got the first-hand experience, mate. Or I know as well. Never again. Oh god. Yeah, we'll see how this goes here in game number 2. As a reminder, this is a best of 3, so already GunGFuBanDa is already up against the wall here.
Oh yeah, one more game and he is down in this group. Now, fun fact actually, this is the first time these two players are going to be having a match in this season of DreamHack, at least in the group stage. So it's completely fresh for them. Nobody's down in the group, nobody's up in the group. This is, again, not a lot of pressure at the start of the event.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well, that this is literally their first series of the entire group stage, despite this being day 3. So, you know, they had a couple of days off to prepare even more for DreamHack, and now finally their groups have started, their matches have started. And yeah, because it is the first series, you know, it isn't really too telling as to how the entire group is going to unfold for them.
Yeah. You know, as we get to maybe day 6 or day 7 of the group stage, that's when we all have to break our calculators out, you know, scribble down some notes, try to figure out the math as best we can. But yeah, I do not look forward to doing that math, but I'm gonna try anyway.
Oh no.
You know, people have always told me, you know, the team behind Liquipedia, they're a brainy bunch. They do all of that calculation, and they're the ones, you know, I don't have to worry about it. I say, let me help them out.
I don't think you're helping them, Yucca. If anything, you're spreading misinformation. You're making it harder, mate. You're not helping. Oh god. But yeah, there's usually, I think usually there's like a TL write-up as well of like all the possibilities and like what has to happen with who and where for like the last couple of days. So yeah, you know, I highly recommend everyone check out the Liquipedia Discord server, you know, where they kind of theory craft all this stuff. If you're interested in that sort of stuff, if you're interested.
Yeah, no pressure to join.
Oh god. But yeah, it looks like we're having a couple of settings issues for our players, so they're just gonna attempt to resolve them. So it looks like we're gonna be a little bit here before our next game.
Yeah, nothing too major here. Of course, the players, they aren't using their personal accounts here. They are using fresh accounts that ESL provided for them just to make things a little bit easier. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why it is encouraged to sort of test things out beforehand. But, obviously not everybody has the time to do that. So,
Mm.
yeah, sometimes little minor things are only caught as they happen.
Yeah, yeah, and hey, it's best to catch them early, right? You don't want
Yeah.
something weird to be floating out amiss there, and then you find out like halfway through the group stage, and maybe it impacted your play at some point early on. So, yeah, we are accommodating, and will allow the players to fix their setups and all that stuff. It's all good. It's all
Slowly but surely.
good. Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Hmm?
This is why I assume that a lot of pros just use standard hotkeys. Because, they
Yeah.
have to, aside from, because I know most pros do have, like, they rebind one hotkey that they don't like or something like that, but
Mhm.
yeah, for the most part, a lot of them just use standard, and I imagine that this is probably why.
You've reminded me of piglets because, fun fact, this
Yep.
season, the day of his match, Piglet was freaking out in Discord, and he was like, "Guys, how do I transfer my hotkey settings over? What do I do?" He was just freaking the hell out, and I'm sometimes amazed that there are some pro players out there that never have to do that, especially recently because there haven't been any LANs for the past couple of years. So there's been no reason to like save your settings onto a USB to bring it to a LAN, and specifically
Right,
hotkey
that's the
settings.
thing you can do.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot people used to, plug in USB thumb drives and flash drives into their PC and
Mhm.
transfer files over instead of just putting in Google Drive.
Yeah, exactly. I know Demi has like a small external for that kind of stuff, like just so you can have all your settings saved there in one place. You can plug
Backed
it
up.
into your fresh PC, whether it's at GSL or DreamHack or whatever, and then just boom, get all your settings.
Let's go.
Oh god. Speaking of, looks like we have resolved our issues.
Yeah. Or at the very least, our player is willing to work with it and then, afterwards see if he can fix it because, yeah, it's a strange issue here regarding the mineral patches. As we continue our series now, onto Hardwire. Not Ellie. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Berlin. He is going to be representing Big. We have the big ShoWTimE.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the German Protoss player himself representing Team Synthex. It is GunGFuBanDa.
Hopefully not going to be fooled twice in this series.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on things. Coming into this series, I wanted to keep an eye on GunGFuBanDa, but after game one, I guess now I gotta keep an eye on ShoWTimE. Is he gonna keep things fresh here? Is he gonna keep things a little bit exotic in this PvP by opening up in such aggressive manners?
Do the max packs. Yeah, just there on the shoulder, like, you want to proxy a dark shrine. Let the wall fall.
Oh no, not like this, ShoWTimE, not like this. Oh god. We'll see. I also wanna apologize if I am pronouncing the team incorrectly. I think it is Synthex. I did notice that I think the team owners or team managers are in the chat cheering for their boy as well. Not a team I'm too familiar with, so let us know.
Yeah. I'm just going off of how it's spelled, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm bad at reading, so.
You're like, I can
German
barely
do I do a
read, man.
German accent with that?
I'm not. I do not try, Yaku. don't,
I was tempted.
don't do it, Yaku. Don't do it.
Good thing you warned me there, because I was tempted.
Meanwhile, a much more standard PvP opener here from both of our players. GunGFuBanDa going for the Stalker Sentry, just to make sure he's able to get that scanning information with the Haluk.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you can also throw down a force field if ShoWTimE's being a little bit more aggressive. This is something that I don't see too often, though, coming out from ShoWTimE. He is going for one Stalker and one Adept when, typically most Protoss players go for two of either.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, typically we see more aggression with double Adepts, right? And maybe even we go up to 6 Adepts at that point, just to go across the map and deal damage. Or double Stalker to shut down double Adept, right? But for like a middle-of-the-road opener like this, it's not too common.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is kind of like going for a Reaper Scout, if you're a Terran player, because, you know, I can't imagine ShoWTimE's gonna get too much damage dealt with this Adept, but as a scouting unit, the Shade, it's really effective. It can go through a force field if need be. Not building still, unfortunately.
Yeah, building was thrown down there. Meanwhile, GunGFuBanDa is going for that hallucinated scout just to make sure he's well aware of everything that ShoWTimE is doing, make sure he can count the pylons, and does confirm this time the Stargate is in the main.
Oh. Yeah, and immediately after seeing that and taking note that an Oracle is being produced, GunGFuBanDa gonna take this a little bit more seriously, shall we say, and throws down a Phoenix.
Yeah, a great reaction here, great scouting as well by GunGFuBanDa. Despite seeing the Oracle, his goal here is to just completely shut this down with his Phoenixes. The first Phoenix is already out here patrolling outside the main, but the Oracle is headed towards the natural.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get any damage out there, I suppose. Oh, I didn't even notice that shield battery finished up over there for GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, exactly. We do see the Phoenixes will shut down the Oracle. There was also a shield battery here in the main base as well. A little bit of probes left a little bit idle there. Yeah. Regardless, solid defense.
Yeah. ShoWTimE knows that he doesn't want to mess with that base anymore. Does get a little bit of a scout and confirms that, okay, GunGFuBanDa, he didn't just stop at one Phoenix, he is committed to that unit composition. And so accordingly, he's researching Blink, he's focusing on his Stalkers.
Yeah, we already have 3 Stalkers here in the main base. The Phoenixes are going to try and dive in. We have 3 Phoenixes against 3 Stalkers, so potentially GunGFuBanDa can get a couple of probe kills, especially because there's no shield battery.
Yeah, immediately 2 probes going to get picked off, but yeah, I don't want to stay for too long when there are 3 Stalkers around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not bad, right? He was able to keep the Phoenix alive. He can just regen those shields, and then dip on back in as that Phoenix count is getting higher and higher. Up!
But so is the Stalker count, and Blink is already about halfway done. ShoWTimE trying to herd these Phoenixes into more Stalkers, trying his best to take them out, but even then, you know, he's pretty much just waiting for Blink to finish up at this point, and then probably going to go across the map to see what he can get done.
Yeah, exactly. What I will say about all these Phoenixes is that so far they haven't paid for themselves. They've gotten 2 probes and that's it so far. But you could argue they have forced ShoWTimE to stay at home, right? And be a little bit more defensive and conservative. So GunGFuBanDa, like, he's been able to, again, alleviate all that pressure and get his third up at a pretty nice time.
Yeah, very comparable to the timing of ShoWTimE here. If just slightly later.
Yeah, only off by a couple of seconds, not the biggest of deals. We'll see if that will come into play. What's interesting is that GunGFuBanDa is doubling down. Like, he has not stopped Phoenix production. I thought, like, he would maybe work up towards 5 and then stop there, but he's still pumping out a couple more. We'll see if they will end up, in fact, impacting this next engagement. Obviously, they're great at CCing units. We saw how amazing they were against Disruptors in Game 1. We'll see how they're used here.
Yeah, Phoenixes are obviously, you know, great at CCing key units. So the solution to that, at least as far as ShoWTimE is concerned, is don't have any backbone units, you know?
Yeah.
Just go mass Stalkers, go for an attack. And, you know, that is kind of what the chargelets here are for GunGFuBanDa. But at a certain point, I feel like there is... he's going to get some diminishing returns from his unit composition.
Yeah, it's like they're great at picking up key units, but what if every unit is a key unit, you know? Like, oh god, no! The stasis trap will go up. The majority of the Zealots do get caught in that.
Yeah, brilliant kiting here, and brilliant bait coming out here from ShoWTimE. Shuts down all of those Stalkers, and again, the Stalkers were pretty much the the Zealots, sorry, were pretty much the anti-Stalker unit, and now he has a very easy time just picking off the Phoenixes one by one. Kiting back all these probes. Not feeling confident enough to push in once the stasis ward wears off, but already that was a very nice advantage as he establishes himself a foothold. and throws down a reinforcement point with that gateway.
Yeah, exactly. He still has 2 stasis traps to fall back to as well. As you were saying, ShoWTimE is not letting up on the aggression. He had a great engagement to begin with. He basically cut the Phoenix count in half already. He didn't get any workers, but he didn't really need to. Again, he was just fighting with the army, and oh my god, he wants to go again.
Yeah, the Immortal is here though, and that can definitely be very, very scary, especially with all these Zealots to buffer. But once again, ShoWTimE's control. He's cutting this as best he can. Stasis Ward does get popped. Not too many Zealots in that one though, unfortunately.
Yeah, only 5 in total, but we have a second Stasis Trap, and this will get the rest of the Zealots. Unfortunately, not too many Stalkers to work with, so despite the amazing Stasis Traps here by ShoWTimE, he just doesn't have enough momentum.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, GunGFuBanDa didn't really lose that much in this. He lost Stalkers. He did lose a couple of Phoenixes, I suppose, but the Phoenixes have kind of done their job at this point. He's transitioning. Well, I thought he was transitioning to Immortals, but he actually remakes those Phoenixes and makes even more of them, so,
Yeah. And I kind of like this from GunGFuBanDa. Like, he's just getting a much more refined army. You know, we have Charge Lots, we have Blink Stalkers, we're going to have Immortals, we're going to have more Phoenixes. It is a lot to control, don't get me wrong, so it's going to be that much more difficult here for GunGFuBanDa. But compared to ShoWTimE, who's just going for a much more Swarm Toss style, throwing down more gateways, just relying on Zealots and Stalkers.
Yeah, there is a point where ShoWTimE won't be able to, continue to mass-produce army units. I mean, even right now, GunGFuBanDa is ahead. Unfortunately, that Warp Prism was a little bit too exposed. Once ShoWTimE got wind of it, didn't really take much to take it out.
Yeah, exactly. Warp Prism goes down. We see a cancel on the 4th base. ShoWTimE, his 4th is almost done by this point as well. So ShoWTimE still staying on top of his economy. It's something that he hasn't been able or hasn't let go of this entire game. And again, we'll see what he can get done with these Stalkers. Oof.
Yeah, already not a whole lot. He realizes that he can't really contest with the much more refined army of GunGFuBanDa, so he backs away. What's an anchor point for him, though?
Yeah, exactly. Another Stasis Trap will just barely go off here on some of these Zealots. It looks like GunGFuBanDa doesn't want to chase. He doesn't want to overextend. ShoWTimE buys more time. And what's important is that now ShoWTimE can start, again, diversifying his army a little bit more. Charge is about to finish up. Now he can get his own Zealots.
He definitely can, but I'm worried that he hasn't really thrown down much tech behind this, though. So he does have a Robo Bay. He doesn't have a Templar Archives or anything like that.
Yeah.
So again, the name of the game for him right now is just gonna be gateway units. Even though he has 2 gateway units now instead of just 1.
It's very Zest-esque. Where you just hammer down just mass gateway army, and doesn't matter if your opponent has disruptors, immortals, archons, phoenixes. Like, sure, there's a little kind of finesse here, but now you can just brute force your way through it with mass gateway army. Obviously, it doesn't have that much longevity, so the longer this goes on, ShoWTimE has to be a little bit careful, but for the time being, like, this can still work.
I mean, just blink, right?
Just
blink.
Just blink.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. Oh, the base! It's so exposed!
So exposed and weakened from earlier before. Battery overcharge does get popped to try to save it. Oh, instinctually it was thrown down, but yeah, unfortunate timing there for GunGFuBanDa.
Oh my god, GunGFuBanDa is being pulled apart, mate. He loses his 3rd base. The army's still here, forcing GunGFuBanDa to respond. At the same time, another force trying to focus down the 4th Nexus.
Yeah, the army supply is pretty comparable though right now between our 2 units. Every single Phoenix was there lifting up as many Stalkers as they could, but unfortunately nothing shot up, so ShoWTimE was free to just recall them to safety.
That's insane, mate. He got CC'd and he just recalled the hell out of there. ShoWTimE losing the minimal amount of units here. Looking at the battle report, he lost 3 Stalkers in total. That's all he lost, mate.
3?
3.
Wow. That was efficient here from ShoWTimE.
My god, and because of that, now he has taken the army lead, mate. Again, mass Stalkers is all you need, Papi. It's all you need.
Yeah, he's pretty much maxed out at this point. GunGFuBanDa still struggling a little bit to fill up the ranks of his army. He has a very sophisticated army. He's got Phoenixes for crowd control. He's got Archons for splash damage, but it just cannot match the sheer numbers that ShoWTimE has right now.
Yeah, exactly. He is looking to overwhelm. Even though the players were equal in upgrades, GG gets called, and ShoWTimE takes the series 2-0.